I feel like I'm in a constant search for precise wording in other languages. I think I should do the same for English. What I mean by precise wording is more apparent in Japanese than in English. I feel like using the wrong word is more disruptive in Japanese than in English, due to the insurmountable amount of homophones. For instance, the opposite of kiritsu, which means to get up from one seat, wouldn't be chakui, which would mean something completely different. You wouldn't use the opposing kanji for getting up and sitting down in that case, because chakui already has a completely different meaning and usage, meaning close. So instead you would say chakuseki, which uses the kanji for sitting as the latter portion of a two kanji form. Also, grammar is integral to distinguishing homophones. It's insane sometimes. For instance, the word kara, which would mean space in this following example, 足れないのは五感だからになって死んでしまうのなら. So, in this case, by ear, you might hear 五感だから, which is wrong, because you might be thinking of dakara, which is because in Japanese, but because there's a ni, the prepositional grammatical marker, right after dakara, that wouldn't really make sense. Because you wouldn't use like a grammatical junction and then a prepositional grammatical marker. Because if there's a grammatical marker, that would mean that kara, in this case, would have to be either an adverb or a noun, and da, the end of a previous sentence. So this is one of the specific usages that you would use kara in, and more a micro example of like how insane homophones can be like. It's like I'm constantly stickering the right roles, measuring the right distance to vault a word in. There's also a lot of words that are more or less the same meaning but have slightly different nuances, like the several words for suddenly Japanese and for rain. I feel like word usage goes beyond what is labeled in a dictionary and what's actually used with a certain ploy of language. I say this with a sort of enunciation, a quotation, because I want to toy around with this. Imagine Katsura Imperial Villa, most importantly, with fetal-like acquiescence to what's being told about the world around you. Everything is told with unpatterned language, specified and hardly mimicable to those raised elsewhere. Memorize and tour again. Memorize and tour again the next day. I say everything as if there's a tour guide using unpatterned language as he guides you through the parts of the villa. The birds do blank blank. The blank blank do blank blank. The same tour but somehow different each time, with old assignments popping up but also something new each tour. I use unpatterned as a noun for severance preconceived word assignments. I am now also imagining a tour calendar. Somehow the same tour, but 67 pages in, you see how much time has passed. X marks since day one, and how one now naturally assigns things in what would otherwise be a strange label. I wonder what happens if people liberally meshed and separated Latin words, for instance. I feel we reserve way too many of them for academia. For instance, quies, to rest, liberally mixed with vendere, to see, to make vendere quies, or to use quies as a verb in daily language. I feel like the word usage goes beyond what is labeled in a dictionary and what's actively used with a certain ploy of language again. I see that, again, in quotation because I want to toy around with this with the Katsura Imperial Villa example. In this case, quies can have an unmistakable meaning in one's toward villa.